Hey everybody, I'm Mac. I wanted to give you a bit of an update of how I'm doing and then continue my story. So thank you so much for those of you who have encouraged me to continue because I'd like to. So the last we spoke, I had just done chemo and the day after the steroids were still working. So I really was fine until the 2 days after that. I was pretty nauseous and felt horrible, and then I've been fine since then. So Tuesday on, I've just been a little tired, but fine. So that's how I'm doing. I don't have another treatment until I think December 5th. So okay, so back to the story. So the last we spoke, I found out that this is back in 2015, found out first that I had cancer, cancer diagnosis, and then decided I was going to get radiation and a radical hysterectomy, and then found out I was pregnant. The same day that my insurance approved the surgery. So hold there for a moment because I want to go back and remind you. Remember I said Frederick and I had just started dating. So we started dating about 3 months in when I found out I had the cancer diagnosis. And this is before I was pregnant, just been dating, and spending a lot of time together. And he found out. I told him, we had a long walk, a talk, and I was like, look, I know you didn't sign up for this. I don't expect you to come along. I don't know what's going to happen. We're just starting out. And he said, no, I care about you. I want to be here. And so he pretty much signed on to be with me, not like I'm here forever, no matter what, but he was kind of got real pretty fast, pretty soon with us is what I'm trying to say. So jump forward 2 months and I found out I was pregnant and okay, I really would like to have this baby is what I was thinking. 43, 1 ovary, gonna have a hysterectomy, definitely my last chance. Pretty sure it's past my last chance at that point, but it was my last chance. And so I talked to my oncologist who was like this kind of odd guy who had a little tick, and I'm pretty sure very good at his job, but definitely, didn't really treat me like a person unless I was crying. It's kind of a weird way to put it, but he sort of seemed like I was always challenging him. He acted sort of defensive unless I kind of just lost it, which I did once or twice. Anyway, but I think he was very good. He wanted, I said, hey, I'd really like to have this baby. He's like, okay, I understand you want to have this baby. And so they talked to what's called the tumor board. Did you know that there's something called the tumor board? Every hospital has one. The tumor board. Yeah, that's what it's called. They usually do it on Fridays, and I think all the oncologists get together, and it's actually really cool because they bring cases that are complicated and they all talk about them and different treatment solutions and stuff. But they call them the tumor board, which anyway, so he spoke to the tumor board and they said, okay, she can go ahead and have the baby. We recommend she has chemotherapy during the pregnancy, during her 2nd and 3rd trimester. Evidence shows that the 1st trimester will cause birth deformities and that sort of thing, but 3rd and 4th, 2nd and 3rd, 2nd and 3rd, she'll be fine and the baby will be fine. And so I was like, first of all, I had no evidence of disease. Second of all, they wanted me to have chemo while I was pregnant. So I said, okay, well, I don't have to do anything right now. I went and I got a second opinion, and ended up finding an oncologist who was a woman at USC Keck. She was amazing. Anyone ever needs someone, she's awesome. You can ask me. I will tell you her name. And she said, one, She doesn't think I would have needed a hysterectomy. But two, she did agree that chemo would be the right course of action to make sure that I was pretty darn sure I didn't have a recurrence. That they, both the first oncologist and her, my new doctor, who I did change to, were relatively sure that if I treated it right away, I wouldn't have a recurrence, but I would have to do chemo during my pregnancy. So that threw my first trimester into this like chaos. I was nauseous the whole time. I'm assuming I would be either way, but I was nauseous the whole time, and I did so much research. I interviewed this person and called that person and found out that pretty much chemo was used during these studies in the 70s during pregnancy when the women were about to die. Like they wouldn't make it through the pregnancy. And so those were the places that were shown like, hey, it's good to use chemo during this time to keep yourselves alive so that you and your babies can make it through. I didn't have any evidence of disease. I just couldn't bring myself to make that choice for my child. It was a really, really hard decision. I think the hardest decision I've ever had to make. And so I did not do chemo during that time, and I pretty much went from having a high-risk pregnancy, and as soon as I made that decision, I went to having a normal pregnancy. And my second and third trimester went well, and I did have him a bit early. If anybody remembers, he was 6.5 weeks early, but nobody knows why. They don't think it's because I was older or because of there was no disease. So he just came, and he was fine. He is fine. He's firecracker fine. There was nothing underdeveloped. He just needed to stay in the NICU a bit to be able to eat. And he came home, and he's been healthy and happy since then. And so my oncologist just said, hey, so now you are out of the window of recommended preventative, did you even know there was such a thing? Preventative chemo. So even after you have him, we don't recommend you do chemo. You just go into watch. So after I had him, every 3 to 6 months, I would go in and have my blood work taken and have an exam. And I was, for 4.5 years, had no evidence of disease. None. Zero. So it was interesting. It was like, I thought I was, who knows, it was almost 5 full years of no disease. And the fall of 2019, so this is, jump forward. Atlas was born in the spring of 2016. I was diagnosed in the summer of 2015. So the fall of 2019, I started to feel a couple little gland lumps here, like just teeny tiny. I showed them to my oncologist. She didn't think they were anything. I had them looked at under an ultrasound. They didn't see anything. I had a specialist look at them. Didn't see anything. I then had another person aspirate them. So this is like months of me trying and being like, this isn't right. And my oncologist was like supporting me, but she's also like, I don't see anything. And finally, I had it aspirated, had it looked at under a microscope. And one morning, I was laying in bed. Frederick was up, and he got a phone call. This was like February of 2020, and he came in and handed me the phone, And it was the doctor who said, we found cancer cells on your aspiration, on your biopsy, and we've been trying to get a hold of you. We haven't been able to get a hold of you, so we called your husband. So that was about 3 weeks before the COVID shutdown, just to keep things interesting. So next time we'll talk about what happened after that. But it was, is and was, and I guess will continue to be quite a journey. So thanks so much for listening, and I will be back and tell you more. Thanks so much. Bye.